Welcome to Heartfelt Life Diaries, where we share profound stories that touch the soul and illuminate the path of human destiny. In a distant village, a young orphan of 24 lived a life of extreme poverty, working tirelessly for a harsh master. Despite his endless hard work, he remained destitute, barely scraping by, wondering why fate had been so incredibly cruel to him. Every evening, his only meal consisted of 4 simple chapatis, which he cooked with great care over a small flickering fire. He ate just enough to survive another day of labor, saving the rest for the next, trapped in a cycle of survival. One night, he heard a rustling sound and caught a small rat stealing one of his precious cakes from the plate. Filled with anger, he cornered the creature and asked why it would steal from someone who already had so little to give. To his surprise, the rat spoke calmly, saying that it was only taking its destiny, which was part of the universal plan. The boy asked why his destiny was to be poor, while others lived in comfort without working half as hard as him. The rat replied that he could not answer that, but advised him to journey west and ask the Buddha about his fate. With a newfound purpose, the young man packed his few belongings and left his village, determined to find the answers he sought. He walked for days across vast fields and rugged terrains, fueled only by the hope that his life could finally change forever. As night fell, exhausted and hungry, he arrived at a magnificent mansion and knocked on the door, hoping for a place to rest. The wealthy owner opened the door and, seeing the young man's fatigue, kindly invited him inside for food and a warm bed. Over dinner, the young man shared his story and his mission to find the Buddha to ask why his life was so hard. The rich man listened intently, then shared his own sorrow about his beautiful daughter, who had been unable to speak for years. She was 20 years old but had never spoken a single word, leaving her father in a state of constant worry and sadness. He begged the young man to ask the Buddha one question for him. When would his beloved daughter finally be able to speak? The young man promised to ask the question for him and resumed his journey the next morning, feeling the weight of the request. His journey took him into the freezing mountains, where the winds were harsh and the path was covered in deep, cold snow. At the summit, he encountered an ancient wizard who had been meditating there for centuries, seeking a path to the heavens. The wizard opened his eyes and asked the traveler where he was going in such a dangerous and desolate place. Hearing the boy's destination, the wizard asked him to inquire why, after 1,000 years of practice, he had not ascended yet. He had studied and meditated for a millennium, yet the gates of heaven remained closed to him, causing him great confusion. The young man agreed to ask the wizard's question and continued his journey, descending into a dense and vibrant forest. Eventually, his path was blocked by a massive roaring river that was too wide to swim and had no boats to cross. Suddenly, a giant turtle surfaced from the depths, asking the young man where he was headed and why he looked so troubled. The turtle offered to carry him across the dangerous river, but on the condition that he ask the Buddha a question for him. The turtle explained that he had been living in this river for 500 years, trying to become a dragon without success. The young man promised to ask the Buddha why the turtle could not transform, and thanked him for the safe passage across. Finally, after many hardships, he arrived at the sacred land, where the air was filled with peace, and a golden light shone. He entered the magnificent temple and bowed before the Buddha, who looked down upon him with eyes full of compassion and understanding. The Buddha welcomed him, but set a strict condition. He could ask only 3 questions, and not a single one more. The young man was stunned. He had 4 questions, his own, and 3 from the friends he met, but could only choose 3. He sat down to think. The turtle had waited 500 years, the wizard 1,000, and the girl had never spoken. He looked at himself and realized he was just a beggar, but he was young and could bear his poverty a while longer. With a heart full of compassion, he decided to sacrifice his own question to help those who had trusted him with theirs. He approached the Buddha and respectfully asked the 3 questions on behalf of the turtle, the wizard, and the rich man's daughter. The Buddha smiled, pleased by the boy's selflessness and gave him the specific answers needed to solve each of their problems. The turtle must give up his shell, the wizard must let go of his staff, and the girl will speak when she meets her soulmate. The young man bowed in deep gratitude and began his journey home, feeling a strange sense of peace despite having no answer for himself. He returned to the river where the giant turtle was waiting and shared the Buddha's wisdom. To become a dragon, you must shed your shell. The turtle immediately shed his heavy shell, revealing a collection of priceless pearls hidden inside that he had been guarding for centuries. Grateful for the liberation, the turtle gave all the precious pearls to the boy before transforming into a dragon and flying away. He climbed the snowy mountain to meet the wizard and told him that to enter heaven, he must let go of his magical staff. The wizard understood instantly. He gifted his powerful staff to the young man and ascended to heaven, finally free from his earthly attachment. With the pearls and the staff, the young man returned to the mansion, where the rich man was waiting anxiously for his return. He told the father the Buddha's words. Your daughter will only be able to speak when she meets the man she is destined to marry. At that very moment, the daughter looked at the young man, walked towards him, and asked clearly, "Is that the person who helped us?" Overjoyed to hear his daughter's voice, the rich man immediately declared that the young man was the one she was meant to marry. A grand wedding was held. The orphan boy, once destitute, now found himself with a loving wife and a share of the family's wealth. Standing on the balcony of his new home, he reflected on his journey and the choice he made to put others before himself. He realized that if he had been selfish and asked about his own poverty, he would have returned home with nothing but an answer. By helping the turtle, he gained wealth. By helping the wizard, he gained power. By helping the rich man, he found true love. Together, they used their wealth and influence to help the poor in their village, continuing the cycle of kindness and generosity. He understood now that the universe rewards those who are willing to give, even when they have very little to offer. This story teaches us a powerful lesson. True greatness is not about what we acquire, but about what we are willing to sacrifice. Just as a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle, we lose nothing by helping others. In fact, we make the world brighter. When you prioritize the needs of others, the universe often conspires to fulfill your own needs in the most unexpected and miraculous ways. Even the small rat found its destiny, reminding us that every creature has a role to play in the grand tapestry of life. Years later, as an old man, he would tell this story to his grandchildren, teaching them that kindness is the greatest currency of all. He taught them that sometimes the answer to our own problems lies in helping others solve theirs, for we are all connected. Life is a journey of choices, and the choice to be kind is the only one that leads to true and lasting happiness. So if you ever feel lost or poor in spirit, look around and see who needs your help and offer it freely. You will find that in the act of giving, you receive more than you could ever imagine, just like the orphan in our story. The village that was once dusty and poor became a haven of prosperity and joy, all because one man chose to be selfless. Plant seeds of kindness wherever you go, and trust that the harvest will come in due time, often when you least expect it. As they watched the sunset of their lives, they knew they had lived fully, not because of their wealth, but because of their love. The blessings of the Buddha remained with them, a constant reminder that the path to enlightenment is paved with acts of compassion. Let us replace the question, "Why is this happening to me?" with, "How can I use this experience to help someone else?" Wealth, wisdom, and love are the rewards that follow those who walk the path of selflessness and care for the world around them. We hope this story inspires you to take your own journey, to face your challenges, and to open your heart to others. May you find the courage to let go of your own shell or staff that holds you back from your true potential. Remember, your destiny is not written in stone. It is created by the choices you make and the love you share every day. Thank you for watching Heartfelt Life Diaries.